about that one. Okay, the second act, is also an old one. The Perjury Act of 1586 to 1791. Now, that Perjury Act is a problem. I actually wrote an essay about it, and that essay is available online. I wrote it originally, and two legal eagles went and added a little bit and took some away, and it's officially recognized. The Perjury Act stated that committing perjury is an offense, procuring perjury is an offense. And everybody said, but perjury, it's an old act, nobody wants to listen to it anymore. After that essay, and after this court hearing, there has been quite a few prosecutions. But there is a big problem with that Perjury Act. The sentencing for it allowed transportation, which means you are found guilty, lady, so we transport you to Australia for 7 years. Or, if the judge decide you don't have to be transported, you might spend time in jail here, but, now here's the big problems. You are branded as a liar. If you are found guilty of perjury, you are branded as a liar under the present legislation. That means you cannot even sign your name when you say this is the truth, this car is mine. It's not acceptable. You are not allowed even to do that. Now, if you don't want to be branded as a liar anymore, then you have to spend some time in the pillory. If you were a perjurer, your ears have to be nailed also. So, number one, the pillory, they say, is a human rights issue now. Nailing of the ears, I don't know what's going to happen in the European Court of Human Rights if you go and complain that your ears have been pierced. Not pierced, nailed. So, that has to change. And they are busy at the moment drafting a new Perjury Act in Ireland. Now, the new Perjury Act doesn't have such rough sentences suggested to it, but it's going to be much better than the old one. Because the new Perjury Act even states that the court report writer that nailed most of you is guilty of perjury if his report, although he didn't put it on oath, if his report is submitted to the court and there's lies in it. The social worker report, that is summary of evidence, that is presented at the child care or child protection conference. If that document is presented at that conference and there's lies in it, it's also going to be classified as perjury under the new act. So that is absolutely fantastic. Now, in most cases here, present, I know there has been perjury. She lied in court when she said that you are bad to the children. He lied in court when he said that you had a relationship with the guy down the road. There is always lies. Usually the first offence committed is, except now for the Marriage Act, the first offence is usually perjury. Just for interest's sake, who experienced perjury where somebody lied about you either in court or at a hearing? Okay, most of us. The next one, we are skipping now from 1791 to 1976. Prohibition of giving certain false information. That is not only to the guards, but otherwise also. So, the moment the alienating party go to the guard station and give a statement that is false, it's a criminal offence. And if you highlight it properly, then it can be investigated and prosecuted now. If you give false information to the guards, I know it's not under oath, but under this act it is. Under the new Perjury Act it will also be an offence of perjury. Now, I'm coming to a very interesting one. The Courts Number 2 Act of 1986. Now that act, that section 5 say that if the judge gave an order that you can have access, and I, as a target parent, do not obey the order, I keep the children away from you, I alienate the children against you. That is an offence under the Courts Act. Now you say, but I went to the guards and they say it's a private matter, it's a civil matter. They cannot anymore after the court decided. And you can now go and say, I want you as police officer to investigate the offence. Next one. Child Care Act of 1991. Now there is perhaps one or two of you that is struggling with TUSLA or XHSE with your children, that you don't have access, you don't have proper access. That is an offence. It's an offence under section 37 of the Child Care Act. It's also a breach of protocol if you didn't receive a copy of the National Standards for Foster Care, where Chapter 2 of the National Standards for Foster Care say you must have a relationship, especially on special days, like a birthday, like Christmas, like baptism, like confirmation. It is an offence. Now the interesting part of the Child Care Act, Mr. Social Worker there decided you are not going to have access. Mr. Social Worker managed to persuade his manager next to him, and the manager agreed. Who committed the offence? Originally, Mr. Social Worker. But the Act, Section 71, is very interesting. Section 71 of the Child Care Act. It says, no, it's not only the social worker, but the social worker's team leader, chief social worker, manager, even the typist that typed out the document, even the typist. But it's not only the manager, it's also the the regional director up to the Minister of Children. All of them should be charged. Now, that is an interesting one. I'm coming to the next series of offences under the Non-Fatal Offences Against Persons Act of 1997. There's a few definitions that is important that you have to look at, but offences that is committed that is usually not seen as offences. Let us take the first one, assault. Now, what do you understand as assault? Me bumping you, me slapping you lightly, that's assault, correct? But now the biblical definition is actually applicable. If I say to you, raka, now there is another word starting with an F in English. I'm not going to say it. But the moment I shouted at you, I used energy. That energy caused you to be hurt. And the act actually say any type of energy, applying any energy to you that hurt you is actually assault. That means by shouting raka at you or saying you are a bitch, I'm actually assaulting you. Not only am I insulting you, but I am assaulting you, according to the Act, legally speaking. Now we have a big problem in Ireland. Let us just see what types of law enforcement is there. You get statute law that we're reading from. Then there's also common law. Now, anything that was seen donkey years ago at the beginning of time as an offence is actually still an offence under common law. But we're sitting now that judges decide and state prosecutors decide, you can't do anything. But common law offence of murder, that is investigated and prosecuted as a common law offence. You know, there's no law in Ireland that say I'm not allowed to kill you. I can go and kill you now. I'm not breaking a law, not a statute law. I'm breaking a common law. And I can be prosecuted and sentenced for it. Interesting. Statute law and common law. We're going to come back to that. Okay. Assault causing harm. That is a second offence. Now, I used common assault for, earlier by shouting, cursing him. Now, that was common insult. But if it affected him such that his head go a little bit funny and he had to go to the doctor and doctor say, okay, here's some Valium for you. You can drink, you can have a bowl full of it like your breakfast cereal. The moment the doctor say, you have to take medication because I cursed you, I have caused serious harm. Section 25 of this Act say, if the doctor say you need treatment, then it is serious harm. Now, that was serious harm by assault. But then there is also causing serious harm otherwise. By the way, I'm still alienating his children from him. Because I did that, one of the kids just gave up hope. The kid wanted to see his daddy, and the kid decided to commit suicide. In the past, in this area here, a dad reported it as serious harm, and they said, sorry, it's in camera, we can't do anything. I don't know what's going to happen there now, but the serious harm caused the child to commit suicide. The serious harm that I am causing him caused him to lose his job and he went off his rocker. That is serious harm. If the doctors say it's because of me, then I'm guilty of serious harm. Okay, there's some other offences here. Threats to kill or cause serious harm. I know of at least one person present here where the alienating party actually threatened that person to kill. Or I will make sure that you are harmed.